gentlemen, welcome to That's Hindsight, the podcast that puts media from the past under the microscope. We look back with hindsight and see whether films from yesteryear hold up today. And with me, as always, is Mark and Taylor. Taylor, how are you today?
Absolutely fantastic. Ready to rush into this film. It's
I
rush
like
hour.
what you did there.
I
get it.
It's the hour of rushing, yes.
Thank you.
Well done. And Mark, how are you?
Hello there.
Oh,
I'm good.
Deep.
I don't know why. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. As always, let's rush into this film. Oh, God.
Oh, it is fun.
Sorry, I should have gone with some. It's the hour of our discussion. Is that better?
Very
Ooh.
good.
Oh yeah, that's well
works.
cool.
It was terrible.
Will we, Jackie, change our mind about this film?
Oh, you're a bit of a sucker.
All of these work really
What
well.
This has
happening?
descended
Gold.
into chaos within seconds today.
Oh, God. Have either of you been up to anything interesting? I hear a big event is happening for you soon, Taylor.
I have bought a house. Yes.
Oh my God.
So Facebook Marketplace is a girl's best friend, even though Mark doesn't like secondhand things. I buy everything secondhand.
Cheap and nasty. That's what it's
I
all
bought
about.
a TV today, and as the tech expert, there's a lot of judgment, but it's been approved because it's Samsung. So,
I've not seen it yet.
Sponsor this. I'll add a little gifted.
Wow, I feel like I got called out on several times in that one conversation there. And
I
I'm
do
like,
feel like I single you out a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll come
wow,
for you.
You're
next
being
time.
thrown under the bus.
yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Mark, what have you been up to?
Well, not a great deal. Lockdown. I bought myself a little drone, so I've been flying that about. Very nice, very
Ooh,
fun.
Lovely.
Expect me to be peering into your bedroom any day now.
Do you think we could take a drone shot of us doing the podcast in Ed's kitchen?
I mean, we could. I think it would just be a roof of a house, but you know,
Can you not fly it inside the house and just keep it really low?
I could. Again, I feel like it's a little bit dangerous. Like really rapid spinning blades very near to our heads is not something I'm looking forward to in general. But
Yeah, but think about the footage.
I could just hold a camera up high if you want. Get the same sort of general look to it.
But you won't be sitting. We need the 360 angle.
All right, well, we'll get someone else to take the photo then. Ed, what have you been up to?
I've been building a nursery, which in my head sounded very easy. Like, that's just a bit of flat pack furniture, put it all together, whack it up there and done. But it's taken its toll on me to the point where the baby won't have a cot now.
That's fine. That can sleep anywhere. It's on the floor.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Put him in a drawer, just close it.
But the baby doesn't sleep in the nursery for the first few months, do they?
Well,
Just a hotel
you know more
room.
than me.
Where do they stay?
No, it'll be in a Moses basket for the first few months, I think.
Will the basket then be set upon a river to float gently down into the reeds?
To rock it to sleep, yes.
Yes. Oh, lovely.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, I'm glad everyone's having an eventful time. I think now, though, it's time to take a journey back to 1998.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
We're nearing the end of, a century and a millennium.
A millennium.
Yes. And I think we found some facts that will help set the scene for 1998. Here's one for you, bit of a sad note, but Frank Sinatra, old Blue Eyes, died. Fly me to the moon.
Oh, wow. That was like he was just there. He'd come back.
I pressed play on a recording. Better hope this doesn't get flagged on YouTube.
No, I'm sure that won't get flagged at all. But that's sad. That's a sad thing. What a legend. But, I mean, obviously, his music and he lives on. Here we are, 20, 30 years later? 20
The
years
ultimate
later.
crooner, yes.
An absolute legend. I don't think Taylor knows who we're talking about. From,
I know the
face.
song Fly Me to the Moon. I was just trying to think of any of his other songs.
Oh, God.
Can you sing them? I like it when
Come
you
fly with me, let's fly,
yeah.
let's fly away.
Start spreading the nudes. I changed it to nudes.
The wedding song.
Start spreading the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on April Fool's Day in 1998, Burger King took out a full-page ad introducing the Whopper just for lefties, and people went and they were overcome with people asking for the lefty Whopper in stores. But I don't think I would get that. If someone actually put an ad out, I'd be like, oh, cool. I don't think I'd clock it was April Fool's Day.
I think that's a sign of a good April Fool's Day gag when it pulls people in and you don't think about it. That's a winner of a. I mean, it obviously just goes to show that left-handed people are slightly sillier than us.
I wonder what it looked like.
Us righties. It would have just been. It would have been a photo of a burger, and it would have just said it's a left-handed burger. That's all it would have been. Taylor, I'm not sure you understand the joke now. It's like if I said I've got a left-handed fork for you, it'd just be exactly the same fork.
Well, yeah, but what happens if they made it look a little bit different? I'm actually Googling it to see if I can see what it looks like.
Oh, no.
But Burger King are on it with their marketing. Like, they are good.
I mean, that was during a time where a lot of them, you don't get it now, but like because no one really reads print media anymore, but often you'd find just pages dedicated to these April Fool's jokes in the papers where companies were just trolling people. And they were great, and I do miss those days, because you'd be excited to get that paper on April the 1st, and just be like, right, what kind of stupidity's in here today? Yeah, I mean, you do get it a little bit online these days, I suppose, but you don't come across a lot of it, because you're not really looking at it, so...
I do like it as well, because the way you look at it now, with, like, they spent all that money, and it is a bit lame. It's not, like, amazing, is it?
Oh, no. But it's the simple ones that are the best ones, obviously.
Yeah,
if it pulled people in. That's good. Well, all right, and here's one for you. So, for your Apple fans, they released the revolutionary, iconic iMac in 1998. And that was the one that had all those different colour backs to them, if those who remember.
Oh, they are so cool. And they look timeless. I mean,
They are. I mean, you can't deny the cool of them. They looked amazing. And I mean, we've even when our Amateurmatics, we've had a couple of them on stage, haven't we? Where we've got them.
Oh yeah,
in the past, and they just really set a scene really well. So yeah, there you go.
Because they are like an old school monitor, not like an LCD flat screen, like the old Cafe Ray Tube. But how they made that look cool is a testament to that design, really.
It is. Yeah, it just. I mean, even back then, Apple, they. As much as I'm not an Apple user, you can't deny that they had an air of cool about them.
I don't know what they look like. Sorry to input.
I'll send you a picture later.
Thanks, I look forward to seeing it.
They had a handle on.
Why?
Very cool. So you could pick it up and move it. But they weighed a ton.
You know, when we were clearing out Joe's room yesterday, and he had a Samsung watch with a camera on the strap. I didn't know they did that. I think that's quite cool as well.
That's something I've never heard of.
Sounds a bit perverted, to be honest.
To be fair, maybe that's why they've gone.
Yeah, you've got to get a bit of an itch. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Moving on, Edward. Moving on.
John Glenn, at the age of 77, became the oldest man to fly in space by serving as a payload specialist on the STS-95 aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Wow.
77 years old. The idea of going into space when you're 77. John Glenn, of course, was the first man to orbit the Earth.
Of course.
I think back in the 60s.
Yeah.
But, very cool guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to say that you did like that and then that as well, like, you've lived a life. That's
Why don't we go into space as much anymore?
Costs too much.
But we had this whole time where everyone was going into space. It was a whole thing, and now no one goes in.
Well, that's because the taxpayers were paying for NASA to go into space, and then suddenly they realised, actually, should we sort things out on Earth first before we do all that? But you still get, like, SpaceX.
I was going to say, Elon Musk keeps trying to launch rockets and failing miserably, doesn't he? But, yeah, I mean, don't get wrong. I mean, the space station's still up there. That's still fanning around, so...
Yeah. On a more intellectual level,
God.
Sex in the City made its TV debut.
Oh, that was a double bluff, wasn't it?
The reason I brought it up is because I'm currently watching Sex and the City, and I'm a big fan. And I just think it's interesting that it came out in 1998.
Okay.
Louise, my wife, watched through that not too long ago, and she came out of it saying that she didn't really like Kerry.
No, I don't like Kerry. Carrie.
I watched the first season, and that was as far as I ever got with it.
She's just annoying. Like, she's just.
I find them all annoying.
Revelation. Yeah, but every girl will come out of it and be like, "Who are you? Which girl are you?" I'm a Charlotte. Not that any of you understand what that means, but for the listeners, I'm a Charlotte.
You're whoever Kim Cattrall plays.
Who's Kim Cattrall?
I don't know. The one that's not in it anymore.
Samantha.
No.
I knew I'd get a no from you. No.
They've commissioned a new series of that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm buzzing.
And she's not in it.
No, Samantha. No, she fell out with.
Yeah.
Surely it's got to be borderline worth the money.
It's not, but it's not. It'll be like pretty much every other reboot that we've had, and it'll be terrible.
The Spice Girls.
They're not. Name one good reboot TV show. No, I'm not talking about the Spice Girls. Like every reboot has been bad. Let's be honest.
I don't know. The new Frasier one sounds good.
I'm so excited for it, but I'm also very worried because, like all the others, they're not as good as they were. All right. Well, to counter your Sex and the City travesty, the last episode of Seinfeld was broadcast in 1998, and that's a sad thing because Seinfeld's
What is
amazing.
Seinfeld?
You're not in the podcast anymore. Seinfeld is like. I mean, in America, probably considered one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, certainly. I mean, it's perhaps not as big in the UK, but it is a template for sitcom. It's such an iconic, to use one of your words.
Seinfeld was like Friends before Friends, basically. It was huge.
Just a group of people, and it was always billed as a show about nothing. And like, just the episodes were just very random plot lines. But they were just funny. I mean, I'd recommend it to anyone, Seinfeld. But you know, it's probably a product of its time in the sense of I'm not sure. Well, I watch it now and I still love it. But someone picking it up with no context might
Judge it.
Yeah, like I say, it's still considered one of the biggest sitcoms of all time. So there you go. A bit better than Sex and the City, that's for damn sure.
I don't know if either of you have heard of the website Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes, the movie review site. Well, did you know it launched in 1998 from founder Sen Du Wong, I hope I said that correctly, who was a big fan of Jackie Chan.
Oh.
And wanted to track the American reviews of Rush Hour.
Oh,
at
what
the time.
Oh,
wow.
So he set up the site to track that, and then obviously it's grown now into one of the go-to places for aggregate film reviews.
Wow, that is a fact that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, that was topical.
Just because I never knew any of that, and the fact it's actually very on point for our discussion today with Rush Hour just makes it that much better. Well, you wouldn't have thought that what is probably the biggest review site aggravator around now. I mean, people go off of Rotten Tomatoes. You live and die by those ratings. Would have started purely to rate Jackie Chan films. Like, what? That's incredible.
Very cool.
That is incredible.
Off topic was Google was founded in 1998.
Is it that late? Wow.
That has kind of upset my next fact, which was going to be that the first Google Doodle appeared on their webpage, but that's probably because they were founded, so it's probably the very first thing they put up.
What was it?
It doesn't actually tell me. I probably would have been more exciting to have. It's probably just Google bouncing around saying, "Hi, Winnie." I don't know.
Well, I know it was Yahoo used to be powered by Google.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Yahoo search was powered by Google. Yeah, which helped Google, I think, get as big as it did because everyone was like, "Well, I might as well just go to Google then." I know I did. It's just like, why am I hopping through one and the other? And Yahoo became awful anyway. So
I'll tell you what was huge, big in 1998. The highest grossing movie was Armageddon.
Wow.
Not seen it.
Saw it at the cinema. It's actually the first DVD I ever owned.
Really?
And it's a flipper disc, so you had to turn it over halfway through.
Probably cost 30 quid or something.
It was, I think 25 quid. And it's very much, I think because it's the only DVD I ever owned, I've watched it so much that I now hate the film.
Oh no.
Yeah, I literally can't watch it now. It winds me up. But I did enjoy it at the time. I saw it at the cinema, Armageddon. It was
was 98
massive.
the year when it was like Armageddon versus Deep Impact? Was that the same year?
Yeah, pretty much. If it wasn't, then it was like one was the end of one year, one was at the start of another year. But they were very close together. And thing is, I mean, they're quite. Although they're both about a meteorite, they're actually quite different films.
Quite different, yeah.
I quite liked Deep Impact, but it didn't have the same impact as Armageddon.
Well, what did have a deep impact was the best-selling album (US) was Titanic music from the motion picture.
This was not a good year for film or music, was it? Let's be honest. When a soundtrack to a film was the highest grossing one.
Well, Titanic came out the year before as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And the music in that isn't exactly classic
My Heart
musical.
Will Go On.
Yeah, but like My Heart Will Go. You know, when The Greatest Showman came out, they're quite like sing along, jaunty tunes, whereas Titanic's a bit hard hitting.
What you got to remember back then, though, as well, is if people enjoyed that music, they had to go and buy a disc.
Yeah, they can't just.
So can't just stream it, and that's why things like that topped the charts.
And I think a lot of people would have bought the album literally just to get the Celine Dion song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not thinking, I want the orchestral score to Scene 25.
Which is probably better.
Which way?
Oh, there.
Right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back to discuss Rush Hour.
Ooh.
Welcome back. And now it's time to discuss Rush Hour. So, Mark, what is your history with Rush Hour?
I mean, to say I'm a big fan would probably do it a disservice. And I saw this in the cinema when it came out. So, 2 films from that year. I'm sure I saw Blade the same year, and I don't know why they both stick in my head as things I went to see at the cinema in 1998. But this is the one I most enjoy.
Taylor?
No history, as most of our films. Never seen it before, never heard about it before. First time, first viewing experience.
So this didn't exist for you before we watched this?
I don't think so. I'm sure you two have referenced it, probably, but I've never been like, oh, Rush Hour.
It does upset me to think that we've never mentioned it enough that you've registered part of it as things we've come out with at some point. We need to up our quoting.
I was a big fan of Jackie Chan when I was younger, and I remember watching, I think it was the American versions of his police story films. I think one was called First Strike or things like that. And I remember seeing an advert for this, and it sounded so cool because it was I think it was his first English speaking film that he had done.
Right.
And I was so hyped for it, but I couldn't watch it because I think I was too young.
Yeah, you would have been, wouldn't you?
So I wasn't able to watch it. And I think I actually ended up seeing the second one first in the cinema.
Upsetting, knowing that. Oh, God.
Having seen it shortly after, it would have been on DVD, I think, or I rented it at some point, I think.
Yeah.
Back in the old days of video rentals.
They had great DVDs, the Rush Hour ones. They were really like the animated menus, and there was so much special features on them. They were some of the best early DVDs I remember getting.
They really were.
Yeah.
What's a DVD?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I don't believe you at all.
I seem to remember the Rush Hour DVD menu was like a spinning Chinese food parcel or something.
Yeah, and like if you left it long enough, it exploded and it had a completely different menu. It was unbelievable. Like it was like technology is amazing. Like it really was. It was one of those rare DVD menus that you actually just enjoyed it instead of it being annoying after about 2 seconds.
Let's imagine we put that DVD in and we're pressing play on the film. We open with some lovely footage of Hong Kong, don't we? Some nice sweeping photography. And what I would say is just a great soundtrack as well.
Yeah, it really sets the tone, doesn't it? Like straight away. I was going to do an impression of it, but I'm not.
Please do.
No, I feel like that'd be
I
immediately
can't remember the
offensive.
song. Oh.
Dum 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 dum.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I did think the music in this film's really good.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack. It really puts you in the film's sort of mindset, I think, like just as a soundtrack. Because some soundtracks just fade into the background, you don't really notice them. But yeah, I do, and it hits straight away, doesn't it? Like as soon as you see that skyline and you get that like Hong Kong style music, and I like we're straight into it. Like so we see, and we're already on. Well, I don't know if you immediately know this because I've seen it so many times. It's hard for me to take it away. But like you see the bad guys like doing bad stuff, and I mean, did that come across, Taylor? Like these are obviously crooked people.
Yeah.
Right.
At the start of the film, I was like, this is literally an Ed and Mark classic. Guns, action. I was like, oh, for goodness sake, where are the boobs? I was like, it did feel like that. I have to say, it was different, but there was just, yeah, it's all guns and...
It's an action comedy. I mean, that's what you'd expect.
I feel like it takes me out of it as such, because we're from the UK. We don't see guns ever. So, like, the fact that all of these films instantly... I know it's an action and whatnot, and it didn't ruin it for me, but for the opening, I was like, oh, dear.
Well, I mean, I quite like that, then. We already upset you right away. But,
No! I feel like this film... Can we just say... You two are passionate about this film. So I'm slightly concerned about my opinion.
Get shouted down at every opportunity.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we see these baddies, and we see Jackie Chan's character. Lee is sort of obviously scoping it out and taking them down quietly and doing his thing, isn't he? Yeah.
Nice little preview of his athleticism as well. Like when he hops into that port window and hiding around, you kind of see, oh, this guy knows what he's doing.
He's cool.
He's very cool. And we obviously see his what appears at that time to be his like enemy, his nemesis. He's the other guy with the blonde hair. I can't remember his name. Sang, yeah. Yeah. And he escapes, obviously, so that's sort of...
Why didn't he pull the trigger? I guess I wouldn't be a film if he did, but it was one of those moments
because he's a policeman, and so...
Actually, that's one thing. They didn't kill everyone in this film, did they?
No, because it's not... It's only a 12 or a...
Yeah.
Very low. It's not a dead people... I know it's guns for you, but...
They did kill quite a lot of people.
The baddies do, but like the goodies don't, because they're obviously good guys. They're cops, and they're.
I know it's like it's just a classic setup, isn't it? He has the opportunity and then doesn't do it, and he then has to fix his mistake.
He wants him alive. He wants to get him in, question him, serve
justice.
Time.
That's it. Yeah. So then we find out that this is taking place on the last day of British rule in Hong Kong. But when I was watching, it made me realise, that was that long ago. But also still not that long that the British were still ruling Hong Kong, but quite on topic, obviously, of stuff that's been happening lately in Hong Kong, but we won't go into that.
When we go to the dinner scene, so they're all having dinner together, I have to say, I didn't clock that he was going to be the bad guy.
And that's good. And I was watching it, like looking, thinking, are there any like
hints,
cutaway shots, or is it like him raising an eyebrow at a certain point? But yeah, at no point did that scene is it given away that he's a bad guy. So, and I think that's good because...
I think they do well because he like leads the applause when they're like, we have captured Juntao's entire collection. Fantastic, well done.
Yeah. It's
even though he's like, that's my collection.
Yeah. And I think that's good because I do think... I don't know if it's maybe I'm just imagining it, but these days I feel like these things are given away far too easy.
Yeah.
Like there would have been like a crash zoom shot and him raising an eyebrow a bit and whispering to the camera, I hate you. Something like that. And you'd have no...
It was me.
Yeah, there'd be no surprise coming up later. So that's a good start. And then we also meet Su Young, which is the daughter of the ambassador?
Consulate.
That's it. It's consulate, thank you. Who essentially is the catalyst for what goes on in the film.
She is my favourite character.
She's great. She's an awesome character, yeah.
Amazing.
They've got quite a good relationship, her and Lee, haven't they? We don't really know why.
He gives her that necklace. Well, you assume he's been around them so long that he's become part of the family in a way. And she says, shishi. and that's the only Chinese I know.
But what does it mean?
Thank you.
I think it's so like that, isn't it?
He's taught her self-defense though as well, which is cool.
Yes.
Like he's prepared her, and it's just a nice relationship.
Yeah, it gives Lee a gut punch.
Yeah.
I like Lee. I like Jackie Chan. I like Lee's character.
He's a very likable person, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
and you've
definitely.
got to be. So, but then we cut straight away from there, and then now we're in LA, and we get Chris Tucker's character Carter meeting in a car park to do a deal with someone, which is Chris Penn, who seems to be pop up in many of our podcasts of late.
Just keeps coming up, doesn't he?
When I saw him, I was just like, it's Chris Penn again. So yeah, and like, it doesn't immediately. Well, again, Taylor, did you, not knowing anything about it, did you know that Carter's character was gonna, Chris Tucker's character Carter was gonna be like a cop? You assumed he was, I suppose.
Well, from the poster. But I feel like any time that Tucker is involved is when the film goes slightly downhill.
Oh,
I don't like him as a character. I just don't like him. He's just too much. I guess it's nice to see the contrast between him and Lee, but these scenes any scene with him in is just a bit. Oh, for goodness sake!
I need to leave. I'm sorry.
This is just the end of the podcast.
Immediately when the film gets better for me.
I have to admit, when I was younger and I was all about Jackie Chan, I just wanted to see Jackie Chan, and Chris Tucker was kind of he's just there as part of it. I don't really care that much about him. But as it's gone on, and each time I watch this film, my appreciation for his performance of just being this insane character with insane energy is just I love his character now.
It's so good.
Much. He's a bit kind of Eddie Murphy like a young Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think he's getting a bit of that vibe from it, but I don't think that's a bad thing because he can do it.
Yeah, and good inspiration to go from, you know.
It reminds me of Lethal Weapon. I don't remember the guy in Lethal Weapon's name, but you know the one that's really crazy and energetic?
Oh, Riggs.
What? Mel Gibson's character, Riggs?
Yeah. I feel like that these two characters are just a bit similar in the terms of, you have to have the cop that's crazy and that's out there and that's going to... It's a dynamic we've seen before, like I've seen before, and I just didn't... It was just a bit over the top.
I mean, I suppose it's a dynamic that comes
It adds
quite a
the
lot.
comedy, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got Offset, you got to have a straight guy, you got to have a crazy guy, I suppose. So,
but he's not Jackie Chan.
Well, no,
Or the little
I
girl.
want him to be Jackie Chan.
Or the little girl, like they're just better characters for the film.
Okay, I mean,
Agree to disagree.
I'll agree to disagree on that one.
What do you like about this? Like about his character and the scene?
I just think, I think Ed summed it up quite well. It was like he does that. It's his energy. It's just he's always just like on the go all the time, and it's just
has an answer for everything.
Yeah,
as well.
just fast talking cop. You know, like works really well for me.
And one of these people that is out of control yet somehow in control, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So always on the verge of this thing going crazy, but seems to be
knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
definitely. So like when we get in this deal in the car park, and obviously he's trying to, so he's buying C4 off of Chris Penn's character, was Clive, and he's obviously doing a deal. And again, this is a callback to a lot of things like Beverly Hills Cop and things like that, where like they always try to do a deal, and it immediately goes wrong. So a couple of cops come and sort of hold him up, and he's trying to convince them otherwise. And then, I mean, this is leading up to a bit that I know that Ed's already thinking about. But so it starts a bit of a shootout. Clive gets in the car, drives off. Carter's shooting at the back of the car, isn't he? Obviously there's C4 in the back of the car. So hits the C4, just Chris Penn jumps out. It blows up, and then from out of nowhere, we get Michael Jackson music. Chris Tucker standing in the middle of the road dancing. And I have watched that scene more than probably any other scene in any film ever.
Maybe my most favourite piece of cinema ever.
It's just so good. And I love it. What's the song that plays? I can't remember.
Another Part of Me, or another...
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
It's something like that, isn't it?
It's just so good. It's just like he's so pleased at the fact that he's just blown up all his evidence for the whole bust and all that. Like, don't really understand why you'd be so chuffed about it. But
I also think that wouldn't happen. I don't think C4 works that way. I don't think you shoot it and it blow up.
Yeah, I'm sure it has to be like detonated properly, but I don't really know much about C4, I must admit.
No, nor do I.
But what a moment. Taylor, I assume you hated that.
First explosion of the film. It's a good contrast. Like, it's a good contrast between their characters. Because you see that Jackie Chan handles things like, they handle things in completely different ways. And so it's a nice contrast to be introduced to the character. So I appreciated it.
Good. What about the dancing in the street?
Honestly, it's not a memorable moment in the film.
I'm so upset.
Sorry, I want to go and watch it now.
I can't carry on this podcast. But I mean, that essentially is it. So we're introduced to both characters, and you see them, and how they contrast. So you're absolutely right. And now it sort of gets moving. So now we're back to Soo Young and Council Han are obviously living in America now, and she's going off on her first day of school. This is where, on the way to school, we see the bad guy from the start, who Lee was chasing, dressed as a cop.
After a Mariah Carey song break. Just want to put that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Great moment.
It's a good moment in this.
So, for this moment, my note says, singing in the car, funky, but she's definitely getting kidnapped. So it was definitely predictable, but I like the scene.
It's good. I mean, yeah, you know it's coming, but it's great. And obviously, he redirects them, doesn't he? And he says, it's just Rush Hour. I was like, that's the film title right there. So
yeah, they had to get it in somewhere because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't.
It's got nothing to do with anything.
I hadn't thought about that.
So they kidnap Soo Young, who does put up a good fight, to be fair. I mean,
she does.
Manages to get that scar on his face as well.
Yeah. It's really good. So kidnapped away, and then we find out that, and then Council Han, we see him getting told about her being kidnapped, and obviously devastated. But this is very back and forward, this opening sort of bit. So then we're immediately back to Carter in the police station, and this is where we find out that he's a bit of a lone gun, like he's not a partner type, which is, now you said it, I'd never really thought about it, Taylor, but it does draw quite a lot of parallels actually from Lethal Weapon, because that's also very much about he doesn't want a partner and he can't partner up well, and that's ruined it a little bit for me.
I'm sorry.
I think they're for different reasons.
Of course they are.
I mean,
Really.
Carter doesn't want a partner because of his dad.
Yeah.
Got let down by his partner.
Yeah.
So he just feels like, I don't want to trust.
I mean, a lot of these films have a very similar setup. They're always, if buddy cop comedies are usually that sort of two different people don't want to be a partner, don't want to put together, end up best of friends.
I want to see the opposite. Best of friends become enemies.
That's film idea, Ed, write it down.
Let's make film.
Okay.
And then, off the back of the fact that he caused all that damage, the FBI phone up the LAPD to get someone to babysit Lee's character when he comes into the country.
He's been requested.
And that's why he immediately sends Carter, get him out of the way, sort of thing, as a bit of a punishment. So, that's kind of the setup complete almost, I think, there.
Yeah.
We've got Lee coming over. We've got Carter's going to go and babysit him, although he doesn't know that yet.
Thinks he's going for a special mission.
Yeah, he's going to, and he wants to work for the FBI. That's always been his dream. Yeah, so then Carter gets to the council's house, doesn't he? And gets given the assignment, which he's not happy about.
Requests one of those earpieces as soon as he... I'm going to need one of those immediately.
It's such a straight moment, but it's so hilarious. It's like, I need one of those earpieces right away.
It's a really male-dominated film, thinking about it. Because there's only the little girl. There's no other main female character in the film.
Well, Carter's partner.
But you're right. You're not wrong.
Partner.
I mean...
Yeah.
I suppose she does come in the yeah.
But not a big part. You're right. It is very male. I suppose that's indicative of the time as much as anything else. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
So Carter gets given this rubbish assignment that he's not happy about. So goes to pick him up from the airport. When he first meets him, he just assumes that he doesn't speak any English, doesn't he? Which is just one of those classic sort of like, I don't think you get them as much these days, but...
I'd be intrigued to know, Taylor, did you believe that he didn't speak English at that point?
No, I knew he spoke English because he spoke English to the little girl.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I knew he spoke English, but it's just a bit... I like the fact he stays quiet. Like, he pretends he doesn't understand. Like, it's a very intelligent...
Yes.
It's Lee's character through and through. He's very intelligent.
that obnoxious shouting.
Yeah,
Do you understand
just
the
painful,
words
isn't it?
coming
It's
out
just
of
like,
my
oh
So
god.
painful.
But it's so typical of people. I mean, it's a very English way of handling any kind of foreigner. Sadly, so just shout loudly at them, and they'll understand you for some reason. Like, why would that work? Who knows? But
He then just takes him to Chinatown, doesn't he?
he does, but I don't think that's supposed to be in an offensive way. But we've lost Ed now.
It's just so like, what is this character doing? Just like, I'll go to Chinatown.
Just like home, baby. Just like home.
You might see one of your cousins.
Like, well, isn't it? It's
so
the
bad.
Chinese Man Theatre, isn't it? I don't know if it's actually Chinatown they're in. It's
Yeah.
I don't know if Chinese Man Theatre is in Chinatown. I've never really thought about the two.
It doesn't hold up well.
I never really assumed he took him there for that reason, because he goes to talk to an informant.
Yeah, I suppose it's multiple.
It lines up quite nicely, but I never thought of it as he's just done it to be obnoxious. I mean, if that his informants sell him, what is it, star maps or something, then he would be at Chinese Man Theatre, because that's where a lot of tourists go. So to me, that all made sense. But it is an opportunity for him for some very stereotypical.
The plot is set around it.
The whole point of it is it's culture clash plot, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's a buddy comedy with becoming best friends.
Yeah.
And so during this time, Lee escapes while he's talking to the informant. And this is a nice. I like the chase scene here, where they're like up on the bus, and
Yeah.
It's another good example of Jackie Chan's
Amazing.
acrobatic skills, which I imagine as well for audiences who hadn't watched any of his original like Chinese, like Police Story and all that, which I had seen as well, like you were saying earlier, Ed. You wouldn't have any idea that he's quite as good at all of this stuff, and he does it all himself, doesn't he? I mean, he's not a guy that has stunt people.
Oh yeah.
He just does it all. So it's really good to see. But that's a great scene, just that little chase scene. He steals a motorbike. It's just eventually, obviously, when they're all pointing guns at each other, Lee actually does speak English, and it's like, here we go, right. So obviously now he knows he can speak English. See, Carter wants to solve the crime. He knows that obviously the daughter's been kidnapped, but he wants to do that.
He's doing the rounds on all of his intel, isn't he? Going like, right, I'll go and see my cousin at the bar, see what they know.
You find out that he's obviously got some shady characters in his family, even though he is a cop.
The funniest thing about this entire sequence is they burst in and Carter's just like, what do you know about the girl?
What little girl? And
then like, what little girl? And that goes on. He tells Lee to go wait outside. And they have all this conversation, and then when Lee comes back in,
what
little girl, what little girl, as if it's not got anywhere.
I love it. Yeah,
time.
I like the fact that during that time, Lee's beat up the whole bar essentially as well.
Yeah,
just because he didn't understand what he was saying to the barman.
Felt like that scene was a bit unnecessary.
It's
in hindsight.
It's just all culture clash stuff, isn't it? So it's just like he's trying to ingratiate himself into the culture, like, and just try to blend in, but obviously doesn't realise what word he's saying. I'm not sure he wouldn't have known that specific racial
plot.
slur. I feel like that's one of those slurs that is known around the world as a no-no word. It doesn't add to the plot. It's just more showing his skills
Jackie
off because
Chan,
yeah. But I mean, just as that scene starts, that's another one of my favourite bits of the film. Is just when he walks straight in and the guy's smoking weed, and Carter's talking to him. What is it? Is this weed? Is this a cigarette? Are you smoking this?
And then he tries to spit. He goes,
where? Oh, I watched that. I must have watched that 2 or 3 times as well. I'm sorry. I am fanboying. I know. Like he is getting bits of use of information. So his cousin knows that there's someone shady from Hong Kong buying up a lot of weapons. So he is getting some info. I mean, like, you know, they write him off as just a useless NYPD cop, but he knows the stuff. He knows what he's doing. I think that comes across quite well.
I think it's the details in this film that make it. Like the little bits, like the girl singing in the car, this interaction is definitely better than the overall plot.
The plot, it's a very thin plot, but a lot of these things, like, it is the people who make it, and yeah, definitely. Oh, and then, so then they go to a shop as well. He wants to get some food. Handcuffs Lee in the car, comes out, Lee's left the car with the steering wheel, which I was like, I like we don't see it. Like, how's he just managed to detach the steering wheel from the car?
You can do that though.
I'm not sure you could do it as easily while you're handcuffed to it.
He's only got one hand handcuffed to it. And he is Jackie Chan.
I'm going to handcuff you to your car and see if you can get a steering wheel.
Oh, I can't, but I'm not Jackie Chan.
That's fair enough. So yeah, this is why. And then he manages to get to Council Han's house, doesn't he? He fights his way in, jumps over the wall. Then Carter arrives, has to get his car towed, so he arrives with the car in tow. And they're all there now, aren't they? Like, this film for me is filmed with little pockets of scenes that I know are coming and I get excited for. But I think this scene is only exciting for me because of the outtakes of the scene at the end of the film. When he picks up the phone, the phone rings, he's about to phone someone else, isn't he? He accidentally picks the phone up and it's the bad guy, it's Sang. And I immediately, my mind goes to the end and says, who do you think this is, Chelsea Carter? It's just like, none of that happens in the film, but I'm laughing at it because it's in the credit at the end and I know it's there. Yeah. So we get that set up now. So he answers the phone. And they say that he wants this huge ransom delivered to this place, or to get the little girl back. They're told to he's told to just keep looking after Lee. So they go, but they go to the same place because he's answered the phone. He knows where to go, and that's obviously sets that up quite well. So all the FBI go to this location. Lee's telling them get your men out because it's obviously a setup, but they don't. So we just assume a lot of people probably have died at that point, which is terrible.
Once again, though, Lee being really intelligent. Why would he be in an empty building? Like, why would he be here?
I mean, the FBI are kind of played for fools in this film, which is...
Definitely.
I'm sure they're not as daft as they're made out to be. I don't for one second assume that the cops that have gone up would answer a ringing phone in an empty apartment. It's so many red flags.
Yeah.
They do. It blows up. They see Sang running off behind, and obviously no one else there knows who he is except for Lee. Which I hadn't really thought about, prior to watching it.
Yeah, that's why he's not hidden, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why he's walking. I was like, why does he come out and have a look? And it's like, oh, because he assumes that no one knows who he is. Mm. But, I don't know if it's just me, but, Sang, the guy who plays Sang, can't run.
What a weird thing to pick up on.
He can't, though, but he spends the film, I know what you mean, he just seems not in control of his body at all, because... When he's holding the gun up at the end, he can't keep it still.
I think it's one of them products of watching it over and over again. You start to see these things. But honestly, when he's running, his arms are flailing all over the place. And he's not really going very fast, but he looks just like a madman running. And I'm like, is that part of his character? Or is he just just can't run?
I don't know whether they put it in because they don't want the stereotype of... You've got Lee, who's very good at martial arts and very capable athletically. That maybe they don't want it every person from China is like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Where I don't know whether they're trying to do away with that stereotype, perhaps.
Well, they chase him, and it's just a bit of a chase, and he drops the detonator, doesn't he? Which they then take back, and so they take that to the station to see what is Carter's colleague, shall we say, who's obviously trying to be in the bomb squad.
Johnson.
Which he messes up. It's quite a funny scene. And
this is their friendship is budding, though, isn't it? That's the interesting part about this section of the film, is it shifts from, we're against each other to we're together.
I always think it more starts in a little bit after this. They're still kind of butting up. Obviously, they're working together, but they're not really. The friendship really starts forming, I'd say, in a minute. But I mean, it's open to interpretation, I'm sure.
You start seeing the little shoots of it growing now, don't you?
Yeah. So she tells him it's a detonator, and obviously then he knows the best person to go and talk about detonators with is the guy who he arrested earlier, which is Clive, who's in jail. So they go and see Clive in jail. And that's another great, like I say, Lee moment. It shows how intelligent he is. So Carter's trying to get information out of him, and he's just not saying anything because why would he talk to someone who's put him in jail already?
Yeah. But
Lee has the picture of Soo Young, and he's just like, I don't care about you, I don't care about him, I don't care about anything else, just care about that little girl. I think that's just a real powerful moment there, where it just shows just his character, how much he is passionate, and that's all he really worried about. He don't care about anything else. And then obviously Clive gives him location of where the gang hides out, which is a restaurant I assume that's in Chinatown. Yeah, must be.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be And welcome back. So we have Lee and Carter staking out the restaurant where Juntao is apparently working out of.
Yeah, that's it.
In the car, listening to a classic record.
Yeah, oh yeah. Is it just called War?
I think it is.
But this is where I think you really see them. They are starting to become friendly now. Like, they start talking. I mean, and a stakeout obviously is that ideal opportunity for that sort of thing because you're just waiting. So there's nothing to do but talk after that great bit where they're singing War or singing it badly.
I think they put that in a lot of the trailers before it came out. I seem to remember that was like the scene.
The comedy bit. Haha.
Yeah. Jackie Chan can't talk very good English comedy, which is terrible when you think about it. But so it was used, and then obviously, and you get a little bit of like him showing Carter some moves, how to take a gun. But you also find out more about how Lee's partner was killed and both their fathers were cops. So they're actually, they've got a lot of common ground to work from as well. Taylor, did you enjoy that scene or did you hate it like the rest of the film?
I didn't hate the film. Harsh words. Yeah, it was a nice scene. It's nice to see them getting friendly, isn't it? And I like the music is good again. It's like the bonding over music, which they come back to at the end of the film, and I
know you like those more sentimental moments, so I assumed that was more your speed.
No. All
right. Wow, we can't please you at all, can we?
There are a few moments that stand out in the film, and that's not particularly one of them.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, it is. I'd say for me, it is. But like Ed said, I think it perhaps is because as much as anything, like that War, when him singing War and all that, was one of those trailer moments. So they stick in your head once you've seen the trailer a few times, whether they're actually good parts of the film or not. Does someone go into the restaurant? I can't remember now.
Carter goes in pretending to be Juntao's lawyer.
But does he see... Oh, they see Sam going, don't they? Sorry. I was like, because they were waiting for someone going, don't they?
Oh, yeah, that's it. And, yeah, Carter goes in with that, like, dirty suit, claiming to be Juntao's lawyer. And when he's getting really into it, it's just like, this is wasted drink. You're going to give me some gas money? Got $5?
So... Juntao, right now! It's terrible. He gets taken upstairs, doesn't he?
So shady, isn't it? Like, there's this whole secret upstairs.
It's all very like the mob always have these secret back rooms, and it's always usually in a restaurant or something, like a...
Yeah, the restaurant is a front.
Does Lee just eventually go in?
Yeah, he waits 5 minutes, then goes in.
Oh, that's it. He just tells it, wait 5 minutes. Sorry, that's right, yeah. Is it when he goes in, he notices Soo Young's necklace on one of the waitresses, doesn't he? So obviously that fires him up a bit straight away. So he sneaks upstairs just in the nick of time as they're just about to kill Carter.
There's too many action. There's too many fight scenes.
Disagree.
I appreciate it's an action, but it's
an action film.
So many fight scenes. Like every 10 minutes, they're in a blimmin' doing flips and getting guns out. I appreciate it's the genre, but it's just too much.
But did you not even appreciate the acrobatics and the skill involved in these sort of fight scenes? Like, it's not your typical guns blazing punch out scene. There's a lot more artistic in itself. Like, it's almost poetic the way they're floating around the room. And when you watch a lot of fight scenes, it is just punch, 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 punch. And that one, you're impressed by the end of it. You're like, wow, that's some good how he's. Oh, okay.
I just think there's one or two too many.
I think it's different to people slugging it out, heavy punches and things like that. There's something quite graceful about having Jackie Chan flip over stuff and kick people in the face.
But also, they do get fairly well beaten up as well.
Yeah.
They're not untouched through it. They get a lot of punches landed on them as well.
Is this the bit where that one of my favourite lines ever, wipe yourself off, you're bleeding?
Yeah, this is that scene, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we get a callback later on.
We do get a callback.
I love a callback.
Yeah.
As Carter came in the room, he sees Juntao on the monitor. So he now knows that it's that guy, but he obviously doesn't know who the guy is. The ambassador, he doesn't know the ambassador's Juntao, but he's seen him. So he knows now who that looks like, which obviously helps them later on. But then the FBI turn up, don't they, as all the bad guys have actually escaped and take them back to the consulate.
Do you think the film would have ended if Carter and Lee hadn't actually got involved in this moment? The FBI came in, stormed the building, rescued the girl.
Which they would have lost the money.
Yeah.
Well, the film might have been a lot different if they hadn't involved in the first place. Like,
There is that.
Yeah. Wow.
so obviously, anyway, the FBI come in, like, find them, take them back. Like, it's a bit of a. This is obviously a dark moment, shall we say? Like a low moment. Lee has to go back to the airport.
I know that you guys are going to love this bit. I can just sense the smiles coming already.
What bit?
When they're
Which
at the
bit?
airport and Lee's leaving because they've just given up hope or whatever, and they've messed it all up, and then Tucker hops onto the plane.
What, he telling them the alternator's gone on the
Yeah,
left
I
end?
knew you two would just be. I liked that moment. Like that was. It's a
Where
good
does
moment.
he get that costume from?
Just randomly in it, isn't he? Just. Oh, it makes me laugh. Yeah,
and I
it's such
was
a
a
good
bit
bit.
like, how did he get onto the runway? But I suppose it's pre 9/11, isn't it?
Oh yeah, probably would have. Well, I still don't imagine it'd be
No,
that easy to
no,
just
no.
rock up on a runway onto that thing. But I mean, maybe he used his "I'm a police officer, I need to get on the plane" or something. I like. We don't need that. He's just doing this bit, and it's just better. So yeah, he gets Lee to come back and carry on. What motivates him to do that though?
They go on about how we finally find the real story about Carter's dad, in that he got let down. And Lee says, "You believe your dad died for nothing," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Well, prove me wrong."
But why does Carter change his mind? I can't remember, because obviously they drop Lee off at the airport. But what? And he thinks it's over. Why does Carter go and get him? I can't remember. Oh well, it's not that important. He goes and gets him. So the guy who, like, Juntao, obviously tells Han to pay that money. Like, he's like, and this is obviously where you see he is the bad guy, because he's like, just pay the money, you know. Which immediately, and then we end up at this expo, which we did see right at the start, but it's a throwaway moment, so you probably don't think any more about it. But this is where all of the recovered, like, items that Juntao had got are now on display. And so this is why he's obviously probably more upset about it than he would be, because he's not only did he lose it all, but it's been put on display and he can't even get it back.
I love that when the FBI see that Carter's in the building, they are literally like, "Oh, for goodness sake!" Like, they know it's like, "Oh, we thought he left." Like, I do like that moment, and it's like, "Hi, I'm still here." Like, there
It's
are
great.
moments with this character that I do really like, but
It must be insufferable if you had to work with him, and seeing him show up again at that critical moment.
Yeah,
When they've got this plan in action, and I know what you mean.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I never really thought about it in that way, but absolutely. Just exasperated moment. Oh, yeah, it's just going to go wrong now. Yeah, so they turn up, don't they? And then he goes up on the podium and just basically clears out the whole building, which actually is a sensible thing to do, because I always think, like, they've got this plan action, but again, the FBI are played for fools a little bit in this film. So it's like, it seems to be pretty obvious that regardless of what happens, they're going to blow something up. Like, he's going to get his money and leave. But he finds Soo Young in the back of the van, doesn't he, wearing an explosive vest, which
bless
is
her.
obviously very handy that his friend is training to be a bomb expert.
And they brought
It's
her.
one of those where it's like, wasn't that convenient, but yeah, never mind.
But they knew to bring her because they found the detonator, didn't they? I suppose.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it just lines up nicely, doesn't it? Like, anybody else was his partner, and that would have probably
It's neat
played a
and
little
tidy.
differently. Absolutely. Yeah, so when he realises what's happening, Juntao goes up to the room where the money's being counted, and he just kills everyone in there, takes a suitcase full of money, and he just casually walks out. He plays a good bad guy.
He does.
Very calm, very cool, and sort of...
Tom Wilkinson, I think his name is.
Okay.
Why are they counting the money in the building?
Because they wanted it all in that crazy 20 million in 20 million in
But
10s.
why count it in the building? Why not count it outside and have it all bagged up, ready to go?
Before, yeah. I mean, this is
A
good
very
question.
good point.
I mean, you wouldn't have the rain and money scene, but it is a
We'll
bit weird.
assume they couldn't release the money until the last second, so they
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to do it there.
We'll
Yeah,
give them
that's
that.
good. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So, and then, of course, now that the building's cleared out, the bad guys are in, we get another favourite of Taylor's, which is some more fighting.
This is the last fight scene, though, isn't it?
It is, but, like,
Yeah.
you must have been a bit impressed with this one. Like, when he's doing it while holding up a vase.
Yeah,
like a
protecting.
massive vase. Like, it's so good how he does that.
But it's so upsetting when it breaks.
Oh yeah, that sequence with the vase they shot after test audiences said there wasn't enough Jackie Chan fighting in it.
Oh, really?
Really?
There you go, you see. So, I'd say that audiences didn't involve Taylor, obviously.
Or any.
Most people like a bit of action fighting, yeah. But no, that's good. I mean, because it's a great scene. Like, just fighting that vase bit always impresses me. Because you know he's doing it all himself as well. I just think it adds that extra layer to it.
I didn't know he did all of his own stunts until watching this film.
Oh yeah, he always has done because he's injured himself on more than a couple of occasions, I believe.
In his old films that he used to do back home, he became famous because he would always have an outtake section at the end during the credits, and it would invariably show you him just getting messed up doing these stunts. And he kind of brought that over with him to his American films as well, but they tended to be more funny outtakes rather than
painful.
Here's him breaking his leg.
Yeah, just injured in various ways. Yeah. So yeah, there's obviously that bit of fighting, and then he chases Juntao, doesn't he? Because
again, balancing on those beams and stuff above that expo center, just insane.
But like, I don't understand why. Like, he's got this big old briefcase full of money, and he thinks that's a good thing to use as a weapon. Like, put it down and fight perhaps normally, or get a gun out. It's just like mash someone with a huge suitcase of money, which invariably opens and spills all the money out all over the place.
That scream when it goes though, that was a real. He really regrets doing that at that point.
Yeah,
he knows he's messed up.
I do like you've got on the floor. He's grabbing all of the money. They're grabbing all of the money and putting it in their pockets, even though there's because the fighting on the floor at this point is kind of finished.
Thank you, Gad.
I obviously must have missed the part where your callback is though, where Carter kills Sang, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Like he's chased him while Lee is chasing Juntao, and kills Carter in the room with all the money while he's trying to save him from himself, and then does it. Wipe yourself off, man. You did.
You did.
I mean, there's nothing quite as daft as talking smack to a dead person, like. But it's played really seriously, like that showed him. Like, what a witty liner that no one heard. But yeah, so anyway, so that happened while the other bits happened, and he's made his way back downstairs and he's now trying to pick up some of the money that's fallen. And you see, I don't know how I've skipped all over this. So at the same time, they'd got the vest off of Su Young, and Lee's wearing that. He's run up to Juntao with it, and now he's put it on while he's fighting him. And that's so when they're finished fighting, he pulls him over the edge, and like he's grabbed onto the vest while they're both hanging from the roof, and the vest rips, and that's how Juntao then dies because he falls to his death. So he's gone.
Does the vest not go off?
No.
I don't think it has to be triggered. I think.
Why is he wearing it then? Why does he wear it in the first place?
Because he knows he won't detonate it while he's next to him.
Yeah, he's just using it as to stop Juntao. Yeah, and so he falls, and then obviously Lee's hanging on for dear life, isn't he? And Carter has to save him with that banner, and he pulls that massive banner. And I was a bit like, I wonder if that would work when he falls down and it sort of catches him.
Well, I think because they did it.
Yeah, I mean they must have done it, something to that effect. Anyway, it's an incredible moment.
I'm 99% sure that's a real stunt.
No, it would have been like a slide or something because he literally slides down it. I'm sure it's not just the banner. It's not a banner that's hung up for display purposes. Maybe it's a banner that's hung up for film sliding purposes.
But it's not made out of paper, is it? I mean, it's proper woven silk, which is very strong anyway.
Strong enough.
So
debatable.
What? Why?
Doesn't he land on it on his bum like he's going down a slide?
Yeah.
Well, but he's falling vertically downwards, so you would pull your feet. I mean, he probably just sort of pulled his feet up and to do that. It's not like he's going head first, like a slip and slide. Whee!
I like that Carter leaves him there hanging.
For a
while. Just give me half an hour.
Yeah. And there you go. He lands at the bottom, lands on top of Carter. Next time, watch out for my nuts. Oh, I love it. I mean, we're pretty much at the end now. Then obviously, Lee had got the necklace back off that waitress, so he gives that to Soo Young, and they're reunited. And it's all very
Oh, her
lovely,
little
isn't it?
line. What took you so long? Like, she knew he was coming. My heart.
I love that Soo Young's your favourite character.
Meaningful women in it.
I think she
That's-
has
I mean, that's fair.
bigger part in part 3. So what? You should
Is she
watch
back
that.
again?
Yeah, grown up.
Ooh.
But I mean, this leads on to one of what is also one of my favourite moments of the film. I mean, I like the film is essentially over now, but you can't talk about the fact that then. So Lee's going home, and Carter's going to go on vacation with him, and he's at the airport, and the FBI men come.
There's going to be a badge waiting for you when you get back.
I love the idea of this though, like the FBI, like the amount of rubbish he caused them, but just because he solved it, you're in the FBI, so they go off and like. And it's just, I say that, I know the line, so like, I literally say it along with him. I was like, why don't y'all take that badge and shove it up your ass? I mean, what a line. It's such a good final note on the film.
I'm going to work for the LAPD.
Yeah, I'm
Why?
LAPD. Because he
You're
likes his
weird.
job, doesn't he?
They don't like him.
They don't. Well, no, this is it. I mean, it's. I suppose it's an appreciation for his job, innit? Like, he likes being a cop. He's realised it's not, like, his dad dying wasn't actually bad,
And if
you know,
working
like.
for the FBI means he's got to work with these idiots, then
Yeah.
he probably doesn't want to be associated with them. With the G14 classified cases.
Yeah, G14, yeah. So, and that's it. And then we see him on the plane with Lee at the end, and he's learnt a little bit of Chinese,
Chinese,
which
yeah.
is quite nice, you know.
You assume I didn't.
Is it-
Nice
But
callback.
I mean, obviously, what you don't know at this point, but this does then set up Rush Hour 2, because then Rush Hour 2 takes place mainly in China while he's visiting Lee. So it's nice. It leads on, but it didn't need to, because I don't suppose they knew they were doing a sequel at the time.
Yeah.
And then credits roll. Outtakes are amazing. The outtakes in this, are as good as the film.
They are.
Taylor, did you watch the outtakes, or did you
Yeah,
immediately
I
turn
think I
the
did
film
watch
off?
the outtakes.
Oh, okay, just
Mark,
checking.
do you have a favourite outtake?
My favourite outtake is when Council Han, like, Lisa messes up a line and Carter just walks in and just, when is this about your daughter? Just that, no,
Yeah.
and just like with this really cocky head movements for no reason. I quote it all the time.
Mine is the when the two cops are holding them up. And he goes, show me your badge! Show me your ass!
So,
It's like, why'd you say show me your ass?
yeah, we quote that one as well a lot. Show me your ass. Taylor, did you have a favourite outtake?
No. I feel like it was one of those things that I watched while, like, you refill your water glass or whatever.
Oh,
no.
word.
I'm sorry. I should have. I even think Mark prepared me. He was like, watch the outtakes.
So that's at the end of Russia. We're going to be back shortly to discuss our final conclusions. See you in a bit. And welcome back. So Rush Hour is done. We now have to give our conclusions on whether this holds up today. First, I'm going to go to Taylor.
I don't think it holds up today, but I would say it's a fun movie. It's a fun, easy watch movie, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, if you know what I mean. Like, we've watched some films that I've been like, that was great. Like, previously, for example, if I was to go back now and watch Catch Me If You Can, if I was to go back and watch a film like Catch Me If You Can, I'd watch that and think that's a great film that holds up. Or like Ghost. But for me, I just wouldn't. I love Ghost, but like old films that hold up to, like, I don't see this in that same light. But it's an alright
I would
watch.
have pulled Ghost out. It came out of nowhere. That.
It's like Dirty Dancing though. Dirty Dancing as well. They're like the classic films that you pick up.
They're a bit comfort food like, aren't
Yeah.
they? You just can settle in with it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I suppose Rush Hour is like that for us.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Mark, do you feel like watching it again for the millionth time?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be able to give it that seal of approval or not, because I just love it. So it will never grow old for me. But I mean, I didn't think there was anything particularly about it that wouldn't have held up today. there's some stereotyping stuff, which is the basis of the film. You wouldn't probably see a film like that made today, but I don't think it's overly offensive or anything. I don't think it's that dated. I mean, it's a cop buddy film. Like, to me, it's all right. But again, I'm watching it through a very biased lens, so it's probably not really for me to make that decision. But I will watch it again and again and again.
I'm much like you. I obviously absolutely love this film. I tried my best to take off my over-the-top fan of this film hat off and watch it quite critically. And I think you're right. Maybe there are some slurs here and there that and some stereotypes that probably you wouldn't see in a film if it was made today. But there was an interesting thing I read about it afterwards where Jackie Chan apparently wasn't a fan of it. And I didn't know this. He wasn't happy with his English in it. And he originally wanted them to dub his part rather than speak English as he did. I think in the long run it did him good to do an American English film. But he wasn't happy with how he came across in it. And it does make me think now, I think Jackie Chan is a bit wasted in a sense in this because he plays the straight man. And if anyone who's watched any of Jackie's films from his early years, he is actually very funny and he is very capable of being very amusing.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's struggled with having to be, and I can see that. And I also think they are underutilized. I mean, Taylor, you said there were too many fight scenes. I think actually when I want to see a Jackie Chan film, I want that 10-20 minute fight scene that goes on and on and on for ages, and you don't have that in this. It's little pockets of fight scenes, and I feel it's missing that a little bit.
I think, would you say, I mean, obviously we're not really talking about it now, but I feel like some of those things are addressed in the second one. Like, there are longer fight scenes, and Jackie Chan is a lot more prevalent in that, which I think is a good correction for sure.
Definitely, and I think he's allowed to be a lot funnier in the second film. I mean, in this one we've got that whole bit with the Beach Boys on the stereo, but that's more about Chris Tucker's response to it. Whereas in the sequel, Jackie does the same line back to him, doesn't he? When he plays with his radio, and you start getting and we're seeing the real Lee now. So that would be my criticism now. Thinking I think they did get it right in the sequels, but looking back now, that I think Jackie could have had a better role in it. But I think he plays the way he does it very well. And because Taylor, you liked him in it, and like you found him trustworthy and wanted him to do well more than Carter. Yeah,
that's good. So there you go. So we all think different.
Yeah. Well, no, that's good. Like I say, I'm really clutching at straws to come up with something there that I not that I disliked. That if I to have some criticism of the film, maybe it's that. But that would never stop me from ever watching this film. I absolutely love them, and I will watch all three. And
I mean, I vocally will recommend them to people. Like, have you ever seen Rush Hour? No, watch it. Like, is always my response to that. So I do still recommend it to people.
And as a side note, I think originally they wanted Martin Lawrence and then Eddie Murphy to play the role of Carter, and there was even talk at one point about Chris Farley.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that's a completely different film.
Yeah, would have had a completely different tone, I think.
But I think Chris Tucker is brilliant in it. He really...
I think the energy he brings to it really, is what sets it apart. And spawned 2 sequels at the end of the day. And a terrible TV show that got cancelled.
Yeah, don't watch the TV show.
No, God no.
So I think we all are positive on the film. Maybe, like you say, Taylor, it's not going to be something you recommend or reach for in the future in 10 years' time or whatever, but not upset you saw it.
No, definitely not.
Oh, good.
It wasn't Airplane.
Okay. Well,
that says it all.
Using the logic of 2-1, I think me and Mark can stamp Rush Hour with a approved rating.
Yes. Watch in hindsight.
Yes, watch it now.
Taylor doesn't approve by her facial expressions, which you can't see, but
If
she's
it
been
just
overruled.
takes you two to approve things, not many of my films are gonna survive.
I think that's fair.
But there we go. That is Rush Hour, approved for all. So now I suppose it's time to start thinking about what we're going to be watching next time, which means we have to take a journey and spin the wheel.
Spin it.
The wheel.
The year is 2009.
Hallelujah, I'm alive.
Hallelujah.
How do you say it?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Honolulu.
Close enough.
You're alive.
I'm alive. What a great time to be alive.
2009. In my head, 2009 is a couple of years ago.
Yeah, not
It is, yeah.
12 years ago, whatever it is. Yeah, it was last week. Wow.
And it's my choice of film. Yay, who's ready for a rom-com?
Oh, no.
Just kidding.
one.
It's not actually a rom-com.
Is
So
it not?
I'm going to pick 17 again. So
Oh.
Zac Efron, we know I love him. He's coming back. We've got a bit Matthew Perry. Get ready, boys. This one's gonna be great.
Is it? I've never seen it, and I'm nervous. I've seen a cover for it, and I don't like his hair already. So
I'm
judging
intrigued by
it.
this one. I think there's that weird fantasy of being able to be young again, isn't there? So
Oh,
I'm intrigued.
always.
How do they explore that topic?
I'm so excited.
Very critical of you. I'm just nervous, really.
You're nervous?
No, I'm very nervous.
Yeah, you're sweating.
Profusely. It's unrelated. Yeah, I'm always looking forward to seeing a film I've never seen before. So, in that respect, yeah, we shall see.
We shall see.
We shall.
17 again, that's your homework. You've got to go and watch it before the next episode. Remember, you can subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platforms so you can get every episode as they're released. If you like the show enough, why don't you just head on over to iTunes/Apple Podcasts. Just give it a little review. Tickle that 5-star.
Do it.
And you'll feel better about yourself after doing it. And you can get in touch via email. That is that'shindsight@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter @that'shindsight. And on Instagram @that'shindsightpod. There you go.
Don't forget that pod.
Okay, well, it's been lovely speaking to you about Rush Hour. And we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo!
Bye.
Hello and welcome to That's Hindsight. No, I'm not doing it.
Oh, no. Oh, God, sorry. It's unexpected.